day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Hello, Del Shakes family. It looks like we are live, everybody. Hello, Del Shakes family. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. My name is Newton. This is Izzy.
Hi.
And I'm joined with Mariah also.
Hello.
And we are have all served as Antiracism Liaisons for Del Shakes for the various productions that have been done over this past year. And we're going to get on here, just kind of speak a little bit about the role, talk about some of the challenges with the role, some of the triumphs and things that worked well, and then kind of talk about how we want this, what we think or envision this should be moving forward. This is always kind of a moving target doing this kind of work. And so we thought having this conversation is a great way for us to kind of talk about this role together, but also we thought maybe inviting the audience in on this very short, very brief kind of discussion about this will be pretty cool. I was the first anti-racism liaison for Del Shakes for production that was done, and then Izzy and Mariah also served as anti-racism liaisons for some of the summer productions as well. Izzy and Mariah, would you like to talk generally about what the role is in your mind, and what the significance of the role is, I should say?
Sure. Mariah, would you like to go first?
No, you go ahead, Izzy. I'll jump in after. Yeah, you already started.
Basically, well, the way it was posed to me is I would be somebody who holds space for a weekly meeting for the non-white ensemble members of the particular production that I was a part of, which was Midsummer Mixtape. And we would, hold a weekly meeting just to hold space to just be, but also see if any instances of harm may have occurred in the process of any rehearsal. And then I would be the person that folks would come to, and I would then work with the ensemble members and the administrative members of Del Shakes to come to some kind of resolution. Yeah, I think there's other questions too, but I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah. Mariah, what is your perspective on the role?
Yeah. So I did it for the production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Also took it as a time for space and community. I kind of started off every meeting doing a quick check-in, just a general, where are you in the world?
Mm-hmm.
And then moving it a little bit more specific to the production. And I kind of always said, if there's anything that you feel comfortable talking about in this space, we can certainly do that here with other folks. And if you ever feel like you need to pull me aside at any time, text me or call me, you can also do that as well. So just like keeping that line of communication open and creating space for folks to feel that they could communicate if anything felt off, for anything that they were unsure about. And I also made sure that it didn't always have to be rooted in something as a bylam performer. It could be something about, I don't feel comfortable voicing X, Y, and Z. And for me, that was important because for me as a bylam performer, I feel like I oftentimes will shut myself up about if I have any kind of an issue. I'll just kind of stifle it and worry about it later, be like, oh, this is just the process. So I was just hoping to encourage others that, anything, no matter what it is, if you have even the slightest bit of concern, let's have a talk about it.
Yeah. And I found that having those meetings were really nice and made the non-white performers and artists and crew sometimes would join, made them feel like there was a safe space for them, that they could go and kind of express things that they wouldn't necessarily have the impetus to express without this space. And just for the audience, this effort to do this is from Del Shakes Antiracism policy and charter. So creating spaces for non-white artists and collaborators to talk about the things that is very unique to them. It was an important step of this. Izzy came up with a cool idea during Midsummer Mixtape, which I thought was really nice. We had originally thought, and that's, this idea of all of this being a moving target. This is always evolving, it's always changing. And there's always a better way or different way to do it, an inclusive way as well. But Izzy came up with this idea during Midsummer Mixtape. While we were having our meeting, the rest of the crew, the white crew and white collaborators, we didn't know what they were doing. They knew what we were doing. So then Izzy thought and came up with a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking. It was sort of a group. The full group came up with the idea because we were like, isn't it kind of odd that like we are doing this thing and what are the rest of the crew and ensemble doing, and like what would this time, this intentional time, serve for them, like it's serving for us. And so yeah, I think we experimented a lot with what other proactive sort of structural proposals can we come up with. So we advocated for more warm-ups in our process because it was a quick process and it felt very quick, but we're like, oh, but we still want to have care and need care around our bodies and voices. And like, can we still have that space? So we that came out of our little group discussions. Can we have more time for warm-ups? How about the white ensemble and crew members? Can they have like a time to talk about like what this means and like what it means to work towards a culture where everybody can feel brave, if not safe, but like definitely loved and respected, where we can feel like we are collectively caring for each other and each other's identities. Yeah, we started to take it into those directions of like, how can we build, how can we can we switch this space to being pro things and not just like waiting for instances of harm, or like how can we be proactive and not just like wait for things to go wrong. And we were also just like just having space to just be, and like it felt good to just be together and to have an affinity space just felt really good. And that's really important information. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think having that space to just be became really important for our group on A Midsummer Night's Dream. I notice a lot of the times we might not have something specific to talk about, a specific incident or a specific feeling, but a lot of times people would just share, I'm really so thrilled to be in this space with each other. And like, I'm just happy that I feel like, even though we also had a short process, we all felt like even though it was a short process, we were able to jump right in and be one with each other because of the amount of representation and also just community that was instantly built. So that was something that I remember from our meetings that really stood out and felt really warm in here.
Nice.
Yeah.
A couple of things we want to talk about tonight is like what worked with the position, and one of them was this idea of just having the space to be. I really also enjoyed that space because sometimes we'd have meetings and there's no one had anything necessarily they wanted to bring up, and it was just kind of like, okay, well then let's just like enjoy the fact that we're brown right now. Let's just enjoy that, which was very nice. So I think that kind of thing worked. What else worked with the position?
We did this activity early on, the like circles of identity, and we did that on the first day with everybody. And we kind of kept referring to it throughout the process about something we would want to revisit. So we actually ended up doing one session with everybody on the cast and crew, regardless of white, non-white. Everybody was together and we just kind of continued that conversation. So we shared out a few more parts of our identity that we weren't able to share out in that first meeting. And it took up maybe a little bit more time than we were expecting, but it also was another one of those moments where we were able to like see humanity in others, and we were able to really share empathy with each other and just be. And it kind of catapulted us into like a really good energy for the day. And I think we actually even like wrapped up early after that because we had shared so many emotions. So yeah.
That sounds wonderful. You could really tell from the outside, by the way, on the show, like how tight y'all were, and it was just such a great show. Made such a great show. I mean, I think that we also had that opportunity to bond and feel connected. I mean, and the other things that worked, I think I already mentioned, but just to like revisit is like we got to brainstorm about proactive suggestions for the way for like process oriented suggestions that would make way for more connectivity, more community, more care of the whole ensemble and crew, which felt really exciting to be a part of. And we also got to hold, like, it became a space where we could talk about other, like you're talking about, Mariah, talk about other things that come up that we don't necessarily have space for. I think it's just a really important aspect of a process to have this space, these spaces to be.
Yeah.
I think it's evolving too, right? So we're talking about how this role starts off as one thing and then can turn into these other things, or there's intersectionality in other places too, and this idea of community care and that this role in this process of having this be a part of every artistic process of every production means that even more suggestions about systems, about how rehearsal is just done, that don't necessarily have to do with whether you're white or non-white. They're just, suggestions of care can come out of this process and can change the way that we do things for the better, which is really cool, which I think is really awesome. What was just one challenging thing from each of you for being the anti-racism liaison?
I mean, I think honestly, I always wanted more time. I wanted more time, and I'm a person, I love a good activity. That's the like teacher in me. So I think something that I mentioned that I thought would be helpful in the future is something that we're doing in both groups, both the non-white and the white group, the white ally group, and then also finding time in the process to like share back about what we're doing and discussing. I thought that would be super helpful. But yeah, that's the thing, is like, how are we finding the time to ensure that this is super helpful for us and also giving it back into the process? And I think all of that will come with like, as we continue to see this process evolve. And it might shift from project to project. Some projects might need more care time and some might be able to just like check in and say, hi, I love you, and go back to work. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel similarly. I think, yeah, we always need more time. We always want more time for care. And also just like, how much permission do we have to like shake it up and change things and make suggestions and grow and build? That was more like a personal thing. Like, I have all these ideas for structure and process because I love thinking about process and making processes more care-centered and people-centered. That's sort of like the pedagogy and world that I personally come from as an artist. So I'm like always interested in putting that in wherever else I go. And so that was a personal challenge of like, okay, what's the balance? I'm serving, this ensemble this time in this place. But it's exciting to there's always more to be done, basically.
Always.
Cool. I think we might have covered everything. I think last kind of question was like, how might the role work better in the future? And we kind of hit on some of those things already. Maybe more time, more process, being consistent with it, having with every production. I know that every time that there's a new liaison, there's new ideas and new ways of kind of making things awesome. So I think one of the things that we might make this something that stands in the future is having more and more people coming into the mantle of the role and owning it, like the two of you have. So
Yeah, I also think, I mean, just getting to hear Mariah talk about what her experience was and like the kinds of things that you offered, Mariah, in your process are super inspiring. And I'm like, oh, it would be really cool if all of us who served in liaison roles get to like share notes and then like pass those notes on to whoever serves in that role in the future.
Yeah.
In terms of like activities or like how do we hold space or what am I bringing and what are we all have different experiences. And yeah, I just feel like I learned already just from the little bit that I heard you talk about just now. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe what we can do is make a little Google Drive where we keep a few of this stuff.
Love a Google Drive.
A lot of this, like, ideas and some
That's
processes.
just what I was going to say.
You know what I'm saying? We can get in there and make something and then
drag
share
and
it
drop.
between all the liaisons so we have kind of a library of things that we can go to, like bacteria. Night science. Okay, so night science, yes. Is there anything else before we hop off that the two of you would like to talk about or say or mention about the Antiracism Liaison, about Del Shakes' anti-racism efforts, about your experience, anything?
Just glad to be able to be a part of this and doing this work, seeing a company like so actively working and being able to be a part of it as it evolves feels really good in here. And it keeps me looking forward to continuing to do this work because it feels rewarding. So if it feels rewarding in this space and time, I can only hope it continues.
Exactly. Yeah. Lots of gratitude.
Yeah.
Just lots of gratitude.
Yeah.
And humility. Just, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm feeling gratitude for the two of you right now. I'm feeling gratitude for this moment. And for everyone out there watching, thanks so much. This work is not it's not always easy. And it's, again, it's my third time saying it's a moving target and it's always ongoing. So I'm also hoping that the gratitude and fulfillment of this also continues on into the future. So thank you so much, the two of you. Thank you everyone else out there for joining. And we'll see you out there. Have a great rest of the year.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.